flats were spacious, the flats were nice, the windows big compared to nowadays. And as I say, the friends that I know or knew that lived on it, they were happy with it.
Pretty much like growing up in any other South London council estate. It was certainly nothing like the reputation that the Heygate has in its latter days. It was certainly not, you never felt you were growing up in a place which was particularly dangerous or particularly scary.
Well, I used to go hang about in that estate when I was 13. I had a lot of friends in that estate, and at the time it wasn't that bad. People made it out to be. Everyone grew up in the estate and was okay. Do you know what I mean? There weren't no problems growing up in the estate.
Yeah.
That should have been not done the day it was built. It's more like a prison than a house and estate with a big high wall around it. And people have always hated it.
It's not a space, firstly it's not a space that's designed to encourage access. I mean, you can see, when you come into this space, there's almost intentionally walls like this. So you go like this to come in, but there's no clear line of sight. And I think it was designed as a kind of, all this space is for residents, It's like communal gardens or whatever. So I don't think there was this kind of real conception that this was a public space. This was a park. It was never thought of that way in the area. A lot of the units in the higher blocks, I think, became not particularly well maintained, and people didn't want to take them, and they got turned over to emergency housing. So it became very transient. There were about 200 or so emergency housing units in the Heygate at the end, so they were, very transient people out for a few months, a few weeks. Often people who've been homeless, maybe were drug users. Or single parent families or refugees, and a lot of kind of dislocated dislocated lifestyles, not a lot of capacity for developing kind of links in the area.
So is that enough people to actually change the presence in the estate? Well, when you said a few of the top...
all you need is a few stories.
Okay.
And all you need is a few people to create an impression. Because people don't notice normality.
The groups of boys down there are just awful. The shop got robbed so many times. Not when I was in there, but it got robbed from the boys from Heygate.
The Heygate Estate, I think, films used it a lot. And it's, they've used it about 160 times to do films like about gun crimes and, all them sort of crimes. It makes it look really bad, but it wasn't like that. Obviously, you get your gangs and that, do you know what I mean? But Heygate wasn't that bad.
I wouldn't even walk on the Heygate before. Lots of people crammed into a small area.
Yeah.
Lots of drugs. Lots of petty crime. Heygate, loads of cocaine and weed dealers inside there. Like stairwells, you'd have prostitutes top floor at certain stairwells. Where you had a problem, where you had little walkways, there's been a little walkway that led into the estate over there, and you get people mugged coming down the walkway. So little areas like that, where it's very secluded, where people used to walk to come into the estate.
It's great here is because it's so quiet. I mean, it's like unusually quiet, and I quite like this setting as well. You know, it's almost like a playground, isn't it?
Yes.
Where there's no rules. It kind of seems like you can do whatever you kind of want, you know. And the thing when they kind of want to regenerate something, well, then there's always like a set of laws or like a structure you kind of need to fit.
Yes.
And then it usually kills it, doesn't it?
I think as far as like the space goes, it's a really raw area of London, and it's got its little quirks, and it's, you know, it's very, very multicultural, obviously. So I think it's really important for us to play on that, because that's sort of what London is to us. Like.
And it feels really urban. This area feels like it hasn't been touched or messed around with so much, like most of other parts. We need it. Yeah.
No, I come from West London. There's about 8 of us that are teaching here today. Actually, two of them loitering in the background have come over from France. I mean, our group have taught classes here, so as a group we've been down here at least 100 times, probably more. We've started using it a lot more now that it's empty, because we know we're not going to annoy residents and so on. Before we still came down here, just obviously not more respectful, but a bit more careful, because it was a lived-in estate. Now they've started knocking down the walls. We're not deliberately breaking stuff, but it removes the need to be very careful.
So it is being used quite a lot, but you can kind of see that because there's like loads of stuff around that people have been like kind of picked yet, like kind of cabbage and like tomatoes and stuff. So there's been like loads of activity. I mean, it's amazing that you can live in a city centre and then still have the opportunity to do these sort of things that you can usually just kind of do outside of the city.
I kind of got involved for that reason, to be able to use the space in a more functional way, in a community sense, because this used to be a very, very good community area. It looks very ugly, but you know, the community was very tight-knit, so it's like really, in a way, bringing the people together, you know. But no, it's just a nice place to come on. I wouldn't have never thought this would be a nice place to come to just chill out, but you know, it's very green here as well, you know.
As a Southern resident, I think I have the right, and all the people that is here has the right to enjoy the space.
Now it's like just, it's almost in limbo a little bit. We're just waiting to see where it goes from now.
So you came from Poland to London, for the purpose of parkour?
Yeah.
And did you know that you were going to come to the Heygate specifically?
Yeah, we had like a few places that we wanted to visit, and this is one of them.
Mainly because it's so quiet now, because everyone has been evicted. It's a nice place to escape from. After the people have been evicted, I think there's people using it now that the space is open.
Yeah, we've got all the place for ourselves, and
we're going to focus.
Yeah.
I mean, after all, this is public space, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Participatory mapping revealed that after the breaking up of the social boundaries, the estate opened itself up to various transient activities. These include football and parkour, as well as a number of others. The most popular use is gardening, which in a season involves more than 40 people. The estate has even served as the location of an organised gang fight and other criminal activity. While the Heygate remains in limbo, people are appropriating space for their own use. However, after the redevelopment, some of these activities will no longer be possible.
you heard about the regeneration proposal for this?
Well, I know the plan originally was to knock it down and rebuild however many thousand homes.
How do you think that will affect your sort of use of the space here?
It depends entirely how they rebuild it. Some new estates have been built, really good. They've got a lot of potential through play areas or walkways and things that have got a lot of obstacles to keep people moving in certain fashions. But then some of them are just big tower blocks with just a massive flat square of green in the middle. So if that's the design they go with, obviously it's not somewhere that's going to be as useful to us to train.
We have amazing areas of opportunity. Because of this sheer landmass, we have amazing areas of opportunity in London.
Now, I mean, regeneration is basically another term for a type of kind of real estate development that has some kind of economic development angle. You know, the financial argument then becomes kind of irresistible, and that if you can leverage the value of that land to get somebody else to build new housing and then somebody else to manage it, then you've got yourself some regeneration. The trend is definitely towards privatisation within these kind of now called registered providers, registered housing providers.
Like a full picture or something as well.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough of these around here at all. I don't think there is one actually around here as well. Then we need more parks as well, because that's not like big parks sort of thing, like these sort of things. You know what I'm saying? Park. Just basically because there's no places where you can like just sit down and relax sort of thing. Yeah. Another place as well could be like entertainment, like you said, like bowling. Cinemas and stuff like that, where people can just go as well. Because to the next one, I think it's Surrey Keys to go to the next one. That's quite far for me. So. Go swimming as well, sort of thing.
Yeah, swimming pool.
Yeah, swimming pool sort of thing. Like.
Great.
So like. Swimming pool, yeah.